Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beth Almaris with the Foundation for Family and Community Healing. The Foundation is a nonprofit organization that's really dedicated to helping individuals, businesses, and organizations build strength and resilience through skill building education. I'm really excited to talk to my guest today, Ryan Fitzgibbons, who is the founder and CEO of Lumen Solutions. How are you doing today, Ryan?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me. And I know everyone's going to be really excited to hear a little bit about you, about your organization, and kind of how you found yourself the founder of something so new and really needed. So, can you give me a brief overview of your organization?
So Lumen is the parent company of what originally started as a consulting or company for the nonprofit sector. And my journey through the nonprofit sector kind of led me to this unique hybrid opportunity that we have where we're flipping a consulting company into a tech company that provides services at affordable rates for nonprofits. I have the benefit and probably just the luck of working at nonprofit organizations at many levels throughout, being a president and chief operating officer for a YMCA, working in a larger YMCA in the Midwest, then working for a citywide nonprofit, and then due to COVID coming back, East Coast wide, and overseeing a smaller community organization that's, under a $5 million budget. So I was able to see a wide range of nonprofits. And I started after the changes I had to make leading that organization. I saw a lot of challenges that these small community organizations were facing around funding, how to access the federal systems, and I started consulting. And I did that for about 3 months and found what I thought would be the solution. And since I think June, we've been building out this company and now have a home in Providence, Rhode Island, and tech that's being developed by two other companies, Servo CC and Brain OV. So it's been a unique journey, but I think it kind of led to this opportunity now.
Great. And how big is the organization?
We just launched it now, so we're at a very interesting time where last month, in December, we got the building in downtown Providence, which is being renovated, and since I talked about a hybrid approach, so we're developing a tech platform that's very affordable that'll help nonprofits in terms of accessing federal grants, which is a challenge for a lot. It's a system between SAM and grants.gov that simplifies the process, but also gives tools such as budgeting templates, everything from running capital campaigns, annual campaigns, the whole mix. Yeah. And then having the hybrid approach is having a nonprofit support center, which thankfully, due to the fact that we have a building in Providence, we can utilize one of those floors to kind of be our first center that we are doing in partnership with the USDA.
Oh, wow. That's great. So who would you say is your ideal client for Lumen?
I would say that any small community organization, I think, or companies or nonprofits that were just getting started, that need the resources, tools of how to get going, would be ideal for the support center. I know in the end of the month, I'll be meeting with the mayor of Providence because it's a very attractive, new company because there's so many. I think there's I forgot how many million organizations, but 97% of all nonprofits in the U.S. are categorized in that area, and they do provide the most critical services and meet people, where they're at. So when I talked about my journey of, being in the Ys, the YMCA is a great organization. I learned a lot through working through the YMCA. But then pulling that down to where the community level, where, my last organization, my office was right down the hallway from people that were living, in this homeless shelter. So you really get that effect of how you impact and
Yeah.
how every dollar counts and how to not miss opportunities and build relationships throughout so that's why, with Lumen, we're doing the renovations and so setting up the center in Providence. I'm having meetings with, the mayor, the selectmen of that area, Providence, because those relationships are important to establish. So same approach I would take as, running a nonprofit organization, that whether it's homelessness or refugee or a food bank, it's important and critical to develop those relationships and partnerships with local businesses and community leaders. And so that's
Yeah,
how I found that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the foundation is a small nonprofit, so you're speaking our language.
Yeah. And it's a unique, I mean, it's a great challenge and a journey, but it's also can be very rewarding. So
Yeah. So, I mean, even since the last few weeks, I think a lot has changed in the funding landscape.
oh,
Right?
it was like up and down. Like everybody thought
Oh,
1 minute it was shut down. Yeah.
yeah. So, what would you say the biggest issue facing the industry, so just the nonprofit sector right now, is?
I actually think that this is going to be a great opportunity, with what at first seemed like everything was going to come to a screeching halt. I have received notifications from different states that I'm signed up with. Lumen's going to be nationwide, so we're registering in each state, and already have seen releases of funding that's going up for our fiscal year
Interesting.
26-27. That's nothing that's like, I have a federal contracting, number to access grants and everything. So it's nothing that's a secret, but I've been seeing that come out. So I think due to recent events, the USAID stuff, I think we'll see more money being allocated towards resources and organizations that do have the impact at the community levels. Because, I think the elephant in the room, a lot of people are saying, well, why, you always hear, why is this money sent here, sent here? What about people here? I think that we'll see a redirection of funding allocated towards these organizations in the U.S., which is great news for nonprofits. I mean, I have seen that so far in the announcements that have come out, so I'm hoping, that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, and I think there's funds for all, so
Hmm.
hopefully,
Oh,
cooler
absolutely.
heads will get this all figured out.
Yeah, and we talked earlier, I'm a dual citizen between the United States and Ireland, so I am not, preaching like it should be this way. I think that there are people that are struggling abroad, and there are people that are struggling here in the States, and I think that should be addressed as well. So
Yeah, of course, of course. Um, so you have this startup. Where would you like to see it go in the next 5 years?
we've had a lot of conversations between the USDA in terms of how we're going to expand. Right now, there's a representative that oversees Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So that's our first start. And then the tech platform will be available nationwide at the end of Q1. And then the support centers will grow from there. But my background is really kind of taking all of the experiences of working, for a smaller YMCA in Hanover, Pennsylvania, where we opened a fitness facility and a sports complex, which started my relationship with the Greater Wichita YMCA, which is where I went from there. And then to now come to, and then to a smaller one. It's kind of taking all of those pieces and experiences of running an organization, running a branch, running an annual campaign, and really because the end creating those relationships that are needed, by getting on boards with the chambers of commerce and stuff like that. So here it's been a really interesting journey because I had originally sought just to consult and find a new solution here. And it wasn't until I got involved and other people had connected me with Tech Valley, out in California, that they were like, you should flip it and become, that way it can be scalable and reach a lot more organizations. And so that's what we're doing, making it very affordable, tiered pricing, for $99 a month, $149, $199, and it comes with the AI matching for grants, federally at the state level. So it's been a busy 6 months of building this out. So, and it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of stress, but I think that the resources that it'll give to organizations that we've had testing it, it'll help take off a lot of that pressure and give people time to focus more on the mission than trying to navigate SAM.gov and grants.gov and that. So
Yeah. Well, especially for small organizations that don't have a development director, that really
100%.
don't have the dedicated staff or full-time grant writers or whatever the case may be.
Well, that's what I had at my last organization. When I took it over, the director of performing had been there for 25 years. So everything was on this one person, and the board was very small. And so it's taking the knowledge that I had going through that experience and realizing how critical having a strong board is, and not just viewing them as your boss, but viewing them as extensions in the community. So having somebody from a financial sector being on your board, having somebody from insurance, having somebody from any walks that can help make introductions, and you yourself being able to get on the chamber board or a local board of another nonprofit. It's all about relationship building and having that touch with people. And in my case, it was the same thing. When I came on board, we were in a very tight spot financially. So, and then, being in an organization where these people are literally walking into your office and talking with you, it can get heavy for small nonprofits like that. And navigating that is what made me create, Lumen, and then having the people that got behind me to do this, thankfully, will help eliminate kind of those challenges that, I've seen and a lot of us have gone through if you work in a nonprofit that's like that. So
Yeah, that's great. So let's switch gears a little bit. How you talked a little bit earlier about stress and things, so that brings to mind employee wellness. How is Lumen addressing? Do you have any policies or any programs in place for your employees for wellness?
Yeah, so just taking exactly what I've done in the past, I think as a leader, I think it's very important that you see everybody on an even playing field, knowing that everybody has challenges, everybody has a personal life, especially in my last role working with homelessness, our team would get burnt out a lot. And so it was very important to give that time to have a way to break, not take it home with you, but also even during the day, you can have some tough cases where you have children in tough spots, so a lot of emotional draining stuff. So one of the things with Lumen is having people that can counsel, teams and to work with your teammates and PTO. It's always that flexible, making sure that people are taking that time off, that it's not, people aren't afraid to ask for vacation. No, you should have it kind of mandated that, a burnt out employee is not going to be able to deliver. A burnt out leader is not going to be able to deliver. So really having that balance of, personal clarity and rest, as well as, your staff,
So, what do you think the biggest challenge for you and your organization is supporting the folks that you work with right now?
I guess the uncertainty of the nonprofit sector right now. I think we know with last week we thought it was a roller coaster of 1 minute everything funding is going to stop and then next it's going to increase. I think just as a leader or running an organization, I think that's where it's important to have multiple streams of revenue, whether it be, found a balance between foundational grants, corporate grants, those relationships that you build, so that you're not relying all on one grant cycle that could be, shut down if something were to happen,
Yeah.
especially when we are talking about these community organizations that literally provide the resources that keep people going. So that can be scary. I've been there and had those sleepless nights and worrying. Um, and still there now, launching it and worrying about the people we serve and also the people that are on the team. Um, so I really just think it's communicating, keeping everybody on the same page. People, when you lead and if I've worked for people before where you're having to guess or wonder what they're thinking. And so I think having transparency and openness and just discussing what's going on with the company, what's going on with the organization, where are our challenges, and looking at a team approach to solving those and addressing those. So that everybody understands, where we are, and nobody's surprised. And I think that's the best way to, from a community, organization standpoint, is just transparency, just like you would with your financials or having an annual report or a 990, having that same with your staff. With, hey, this is what's going on with me this week. What do you guys have going on? What are your challenges? How can I support you? And other people are, how can I support you? And so really start to, I think in those tough times that nonprofits face, I think is when a lot of teams develop that cohesion and ability to work together. I think is when, it might be tough at the moment, but it gets a stronger team from it.
Yeah. We're all going to have lots of character coming
No,
up, right?
yeah.
Character building.
Well, you deal with it. I mean, with nonprofit sector, like you were saying, like like a week ago, I was like, well, what's going to happen with Lumen now if this all gets, because we're building it around that. But it was the same thing. I was like, well, focusing on those relationships and corporate sponsors, and so it's exactly the same thing as what I would be doing if I was, running a small community organization, is what I'm doing now, taking that same approach and making sure that the organization is fiscally sound, that we are doing what we say we're doing, and that everything is transparent. And we want to have people coming in to the company. We want to have people seeing the culture that we're creating. And especially in a city like Providence, where you have Brown University, RISD, you have we're in a historic, where our office building is right in a historic center right by the river. So we want to be able to recruit from places like that. And being I keep saying nonprofit, but we're a tech company. We're a for-profit tech company technically now, but we still work in that nonprofit sector. So it's a mix of having software engineers right now that are developing the platform in the marketplace, and having the staff that's developing the SOPs, not just for the organization, but for other nonprofits. And
Right.
me drafting, stuff around, and having somebody drafting, our CFO drafting around financial budgets and templates that people can download if they have a small nonprofit, that'll help them figure out, how they're gonna, work their budget the next year, making that there. So we're doing it too. So we're just setting it up.
That's great. So, what do you think is, for you personally as a professional, what's going to be one of your areas for growth over the next few years? What do you want to focus on?
I think really the technical aspect of it, because to lead, you have to understand it. So I've had a lot of conversations. I have a lot of trips coming up as well, where I'm learning not just what the AI, all of a sudden, I think a year ago, ChatGPT or something came up, and we're all like, wow, look at how this works. And then a year later now, my company is built on something like that. I never saw that coming. It just happened to be over a course of, finding a common challenge in the nonprofit industry and building that solution. So for me, myself, it was reaching out to people I knew that could develop the tech to have this platform. And then for me now to get a crash course on, terms like technology stack, and, how to expand over servers to accommodate the amount of users that we need, and to troubleshoot that, have call centers set up so that people are onboarding people properly. And there's been a lot of great organizations like startups.com, Will Schroeder. We're kind of based off of their model, which he works with founders and startups, but we work with nonprofits. So it's like an all-in-one platform. So it's been great to have that kind of cross-culture, support. But it's a unique world for me to learn. So, but my focus is really on the relationship building and having Lumen known within the community, known within as the go-to for nonprofits for support, and having a chief technology officer that would do that. But I believe as a leader that you have to understand and all the aspects of the organization. So a lot of my time right now is focused on learning the technical side of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, and let's end on a fun question.
Sure.
If you could go out to lunch or out for a beer with somebody from history or somebody current, who would it be and why?
Oh man, I know that's a common question, but that's a very tough question.
You can do it for now, right? Like today's answer.
I don't know. I think I would be more general, and I don't have anybody specific. I think anybody who's been in this type of position where, which I have had some conversations with, but I mean, maybe our founding fathers for the country, especially with what's going on right now, getting that sense of unity. And a lot of people, I'm big on history and culture, learning about the past, and and I think how they set that up, and to learn recently that they were in their 20s. Like, I'm 42 and thinking I'm trying, they were able to create the strong democracy that's able to withstand. And I think sit down with any one of them and say, did you picture this, a couple hundred years from now?
They did not. I can let you in on that secret, Ryan. They did not.
Well, you're the one in DC, so yeah.
Awesome. And so if people are interested in getting in contact with you or your organization, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. So I have a website, personal website, just ryanfitzgibbons.com, where, of course, announcements are there. Right now, we have a temporary website called lumenmarketplace.org. So www.lumen.marketplace.org, where it kind of talks about the organizations that. So if there are nonprofits, they can see what we're building and what we're trying to do to support them moving forward with everything from operational support to federal grant support to daily operations and relationships.
That's fantastic. Well, that was a great conversation, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Really enjoyed learning more about you and about Lumen, and I'm sure other folks did as well.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.